Hi there, it's Jeffrey Deaver. Got up early this morning to work on my book, and now it's getting toward dinner time. Oh, sorry, no peeking. It's a Lincoln Rhyme novel. You'll have to wait. And I've got my sous chefs here to help me with some food. That's Monty and his sister Blush. And we're headed into the kitchen now. It's small, but it gets the job done. I often like to have breakfast for dinner, so today I'm going to make an omelet and going to get started with chopping some things up. That's my one of my favorite knives. It's a Miyabi. I got it in Japan. Extremely sharp. I mentioned the brand name. Maybe that makes me an influencer now. I may have to send them a bill. Chopping up onion and potato for the omelet. Of course, you curl your fingers around the whatever you're cutting, it leaves your fingers intact. I actually wrote a book, The Kill Room, a few years ago, in which the murderer used a knife very similar to that. He did cook, but he used it for a few other projects as well. So we're chopping up the onion. Not a lot of commentary here. It's chopping an onion. You can kind of see that's how it's going. The potato will come next. And when that's all done, we scoop it all up together. And I like it. I like it diced really fine. It cooks better that way. There's a little bit more flavor. You can add garlic too. That's always good. But I'm just doing onion and potato now, and we're going to scoop that all up, and it will go in a minute into the frying pan. There we go, frying pan. Use olive oil for the vegetables. We'll talk about when we saute the omelet in a bit, but that's just hot oil, and in go the two vegetables we're going to have in the omelet. There we go. And again, not a lot of dramatic development here. We're going to cook those for a little while. Swirl them around with a wooden knife, got them nice and toasty. As we get a little longer in the cooking, I don't think we can see it on this video, but I have a pot filler. That's a faucet that comes out of the wall behind the stove for filling pasta pots, but it's also a good source of water. So what I'm going to do after these cook down for a little while is put a little bit of water, amounts to maybe 1/8 of a cup or so in there. After they're pretty much done, but it steams them, makes them a bit softer. There we go, cooking, watching vegetables cook. I enjoy watching paint dry. Oh, look, there they are, living in hopes that I will spill something on the floor. In all the years I've lived here, I've never had to clean up any food that I've dropped. Somehow it disappears almost right away. So we're still cooking these guys. And when they're nice and soft, you can tell when they're done. We'll set that aside. All right, now for the big exciting set piece. One hand cracking the eggs. It's much better if you crack them on a smooth surface rather than the corner of the countertop, for instance. And yes, that was a first take. No shell went into that bowl. We whisk this around a bit, not too much. I never add any liquid to the eggs, whether I'm making scrambled eggs or an omelet. I think the eggs should stand on their own. You can add butter, that's fine, but no cream or milk or anything like that. Now, I like the taste of butter, who doesn't, but it burns very quickly. And so I mix butter with olive oil, half and half, and that gives the taste of the flavor, but taste of the butter, but it allows oh, there we go. Please drop something, Daddy, please. No such luck. So the butter brings the flavor, and it can get quite hot, but the oil allows it to get hot without burning. And now we're going to get the eggs in there. In they go, and just gently swirl them around. I don't like them whipped or fluffy. I don't like to disturb them too much. Just take the fork and mix them up a little bit. It doesn't matter if you have a little white and a little yolk separate. That's all very good. Some people add salt and pepper now. I kind of prefer to do that later. Sometimes guests are keeping an eye on the sodium, or they don't like too much salt. I'm a big salt fan, but you can always add that later. And we're heating that up. Okay, here we go. Now it's almost time for the interior part. We get the, I'll check the bottom just to make sure it's looking nice and brown. That's a good look for it. And then we'll add the goodies, add the potatoes and onion. I do this recipe too with spinach sometimes and with tomato. When you cook spinach or tomato, you have to cook that down a bit longer to make sure that the liquid boils off. Now we're going to get the veggies in there. And I just put them right in the middle. There we go. And not much to say. In go the vegetables. Now the dramatic part. Ah, there we go. Lucky there. Sometimes it does become a bit of a let's say aesthetic disaster, but so far so good on this one. And because it's all a uniform color, I like to add a little bit of parsley. I like dried parsley because it frankly doesn't taste like anything, but it looks good, and we don't want to interfere with the flavor of the eggs. So there we have it, our dinner with a nice rosé from Provence, France. Time to sit down and enjoy it. I could, of course, go back to work on the book, but don't tell anyone. I think it's time to binge on Netflix. I'm voting for either Lemony Snicket or Arrested Development tonight. Thanks for watching.